Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. Today is January 17th, 2025. I'm going to just tell you right up front that we are excited to have Jeff Morris as a participant today. Excited to see him here. We'll give him a chance to introduce himself. Okay, as a participant, right? All right. So today we're going to have Libby Magliolo talk to us about creating a personal pitch deck. We talk about differentiation in our all of our stuff in interviewing and anything we do in job search. We want to stand out positively above the crowd. And so this is what this is going to be, is another opportunity to do that. We're looking forward to have you come and speak to us, Libby. Okay. Come on, work. Okay. Note that this event is being recorded and will be on the Career USA YouTube channel in the future, usually 2 or 3 days after this, when Matt in his technical prowess is able to upload this information to the YouTube channel for Career USA. By participating in this, you give permission for your name and a picture to appear. And note that the comments in the chat window do not appear in the video. So who am I? I am Walt Glass. I'm an interview success coach. I'm retired. I volunteer as that, and I also help co-lead this group in Jeff's absence, as he is still recovering and is on track and doing well. I'll tell you a little bit more about the interview success workshop later, but I'm here to help everyone shorten their job search in whatever we do. So, Matt, if you could say hello.
Hello.
Matt will introduce himself as well a little bit later. So welcome everyone to the group. So what is it about this group? Well, Jeff Morris is almost the founder of the group. His story is that somebody was leading the group and asked if someone wanted to take over leading the group. And Jeff, his beard was itching, so he scratched it a little bit, and now he's the leader of the group. So he has been facilitating and leading this group many years, since 2007. In 2008, he created the createDFW.org. For those of you that are out there that do not know about this website, this is a must. This is at the top of your list of things to do in your job search, is to go to that website. There are even some videos out there recorded, and we'll tell you a little bit about recorded videos later, where Jeff walks you through it and gives you all the information that website shows us. He also created the careerusa.org website in 2012. So one of those started out to help those in the DFW area. And then the USA workshop org.org website was for those that are outside, because now that we've gone since COVID started and we're all on Zoom and it's all that way, we have people from all over, take place. And so we'd like to have them participate as well. So you see a lot of different things that are on them. He also wrote a book called, what is it? Things About Your Job Search That You May Not Know, something like that. There's a book. He's here. He'll probably sell a couple of them if you're interested. He always brings some. It's a great book. It is a compilation of speakers, the kind of the nuggets from many different speakers that's been presenting over the years. So he's put that together. It's a great book. So I suggest you take a look at that. And so he also participates and a member of the pit crew. We're looking for you to come back and do your interviewing questions and being a panelist on that too, Jeff. So what is our agenda today? We're going to have any success stories, job leads. If there's see if our recruiters are online today. And excuse me, I had to do a window pop up here. Then our 30-second introductions, both in the room and online, and then our committee reports for the interview success workshop, the pit crew, and the career tip of the week. And then we get to the main event with Libby. So let's start off with success stories. By the way, turn on your video today. We want to try to get more people to turn on their video so they can engage. We had a tip of the week last week that gave you all the reasons for the value of turning on your video. So we'd like to see you today as you participate. All right, success stories. Anybody landing? Anybody to announce? Did we announce Cindy Lou? I think we announced it. We announced last week. Okay. All right. Cindy owes us donuts. Now she's working and it's a little hard, but she can sell some money into my account. I'll pick up the donuts. All right. Do we have our job leads, recruiters online today, Matt?
Don't see one, but thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll just move on. So we'd like to have some introductions. So for those of you that are online in the chat window, would you please put in the following information: your name, position you're looking for, your email, LinkedIn, phone, and city. We'd like to know, because a lot of people are not in the DFW area, what city you're in, 2 or 3 target companies, if you have target companies. And then also, I have some companies where I can help people. If you're interested in this company, I can make some connections for you. So we'll give you a little bit of time to accomplish that. For some reason, my sound's not working. All right. So while you're doing that, go ahead and put that into the chat window. We'll go ahead with the participant introductions of the people that are in the room. So if we could form a line of people, you're going to come up to this computer so that people can see you. We'll have a microphone for you to introduce yourself. And this is the items that we'd like you to mention in your introduction. So we have a volunteer that's jumped up right away. Nobody else has jumped up. So everybody else, let's jump up. Let's get going. Let's get moving. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Dixon. I am looking for a VP in sales and operations. I can do sales or operations, doesn't have to be both. I am looking for target companies in senior living. I know you know Erickson. I'll get that from you afterwards.
We can't hear her very well.
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, but it's very faint.
Any better?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
so
turn that up a little
Kathleen
bit.
Dixon, sales and operations, looking for senior living, and my contacts are just any senior living. Also, I do retail, childcare, that kind of thing too. Companies I do know in senior living, Atria, Brookdale. I know a few contacts from Pepsi. I can give a series of other ones too, but those are some of them. And my name's Kathleen Dixon.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alkeisha Rodriguez. I am a technical business analyst. I am looking for a role where I can translate the technical into tangible to make it profitable while maintaining the humanity in the midst of expanding technology. I don't have a target company, but I do have contacts at Verizon. My name is Alkeisha Rodriguez.
Hello, I'm Sean Toy. I'm looking for a director in supply chain, either on the supply or demand side. Target companies would be Abbott Laboratories or Stryker. I do have contacts with Alcon Laboratories. My name is Sean Toy. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. That's not seen, that's Sean.
Hi, my name is David Turner. My job is HRIS analyst. I have extensive experience with SAP SuccessFactors and other HR systems. I need contacts at companies that use SuccessFactors, such as Freeman Company, Starbucks, American Airlines. I have contacts at PepsiCo and Erickson. My name is David Turner.
Maybe this is not your first time, is it?
It's my first time in person.
It's your first, oh, okay, that's why I recognize you. Well, welcome, welcome.
All right, good morning. My voice is a little shot, but battling a very nasty cold. But no, anyways, my name is Penn. That would be like to write with, and an extra N. Boy, I'm a director of marketing in the B2B space. I'm looking for contacts at a company called Bloom Growth. I have contacts at Deltec and a variety of other companies. I also have a very hot job right now that I'm going to throw out there. It's for a business development executive. Salesperson, you have to have Department of Defense experience. Again, you have to have Department of Defense experience selling to those types of companies. If you don't, they will not look at you on this one. But if you're interested, please get in touch with me. I've told the recruiter I'd be happy to hand it on now. He asked me to do that, but not do a blast on it. So, look me up on LinkedIn, Penn, Penn, Hoyt, H-O-Y-T, at LinkedIn.com. Send me a note and I'll be happy to send it out to you. Again, Penn Hoyt, Director of Marketing.
You didn't say you could do a mini blast.
Do many
Yeah.
things.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Taylor, and I'm in property management. I am looking for an assistant property role. And I don't have any target companies. I'm kind of just looking at all of the apartment complexes out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Allen, Richardson area. And then I do have contacts at Chase Bank. Thank you. My name is Kimberly Taylor.
Thank you.
Hospital. Looking for a position as director of marketing analytics. Target companies are pretty focused, pretty open. I'm looking for companies that are mid-size, and if they have a whole bunch of brands or different product groups that requires integration, that's probably where I do best. Again, director of marketing analytics, my name is Scott Paduri. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Good morning, my name is Michael Garber. I am an IT program manager. I work with project teams on a cross-functional basis to deliver business value and complete their transformation journeys. I don't currently have any specific target companies, but I do have contacts at IBM and Kyndryl and Verizon. And my name is Michael Garber. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Let's have another mic. You got the mic, Mike?
Yep. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Belzil. So I'm looking for a VP or senior director role of product for data and analytics solutions. I'm looking for contacts at Pepsi, Frito-Lay, as well as Keurig Dr. Pepper. So I have contacts at Walmart, Epsilon, and Circana. So my name is Mike Belzil.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? We covered everybody? Okay, we'll go to those that are online.
Patty, you want to lead us off?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Patty Bashy. I'm based here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm looking for an account director or senior customer success manager at a marketing research company, working remotely or hybrid here in Phoenix. Some of my target companies are Ipsos, Mintel, and dunnhumby. My name is Patty Bashy.
Thank you, Patty. Before we go to somebody else, if you would put something in the chat window that says, have any of you experienced case studies in interviews? Patty's been facing some of those, and so she asked me to see what I could find out from people who are having them. So anyone in the room that's had those, we'll come back to you later. At the end, we want to make sure that Patty knows who you are and find out anybody that's online that had that, because I want to do a little research on the number of people that are facing case interviews. It looks like there's an increase in that requirement. And unless you know what you're doing, they are not fun. And they may not be that much fun anyway, but it's pretty, okay. Thank you, Patty.
Yep.
Amy Fleming.
Hi, my name is Amy Fleming. I'm looking for a director of HR positions. I have contacts at Kobe Marketing and Medtronic. I am looking for contacts at Segra, and my name is Amy Fleming.
Thanks, Amy. Scott Cunningham.
Hi, my name is Scott Cunningham. I'm looking for a director of physical security or security operationals role. I don't have a particular target company right now, but it'll probably be within the manufacturing or pharmaceutical manufacturing sectors. I have contacts at John Deere as well as Cisco, Cisco, the networking company. My name is Scott Cunningham. Thank you.
Williams.
Yeah, my name is Craig Williams. I'm looking for positions in operations or supply chain management. I don't necessarily have a target company, and my contacts are pretty old. And once again, my name is Craig Williams.
Peter Watson.
Good morning, everybody. Peter Watson, project and or services delivery manager in technical fields, previously in telecom. Looking for that role in Plano, where I live, or remote anywhere in the country, and some travel is fine. Contacts looking for Lumen. I have contacts at Ericsson, Tempest Telecom, and Verizon. My name is Peter, the Englishman, Watson.
Thank you, Peter. Dion?
Good morning, everybody. Dion Myers. I work as a contract program security officer with Lockheed Martin. I'm currently not looking for a new position, but I am jumping back on here because the first job that I got was coming through this, and so I'm just trying to help out where I can.
Thank you. Welcome. Kelly Morgan. Oh. Striking out.
Morning, everyone. This is Michelle Hawk. I have 15 years experience in the cash applications department with accounts receivables. I also have 3 years of experience with the dental surgeon insurance verification. I'm looking for a position with CVS in pharmacy distribution. I come from DeVita Pharmacy, which is closed down, so I've got great experience for them. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at shop floors for inventory control and security companies. I've got 8 years with ADT. So if anybody's got any contacts with any of those companies, especially like ADT Everon, where my former boss is at, that'll help me. This is Michelle. Thanks.
My old friend Nikki, what are you doing?
Good morning, Nikki Wilson. Good to see some familiar faces. I am back in job search and looking for a senior HR director or VP of HR, not the number 1 spot, but the number 2 spot. And then I would say secondarily, open to director of labor relations positions, given my labor background. I need contacts at Verizon and American Airlines, and I have contacts at GM, TRG, and Amazon. So happy to help. And again, my name is Nikki Wilson.
Back, Nikki. Sorry to see you, but glad you're back. All right, Pamela Gaines.
Good morning, everyone. I am Pamela Gaines, and I am looking for senior IT leadership positions in software development, delivery, as well as program management. I am looking for contacts at CoAmerica, Fidelity, and Nucor. And I do have contacts at Hilltop Holdings. Again, my name is Pamela Gaines.
Pam, I'm looking at Hilltop. I'm going to reach out to you after the meeting. All right, Raj.
Hi, my name is Raj Nirbunaya. I'm looking for a project manager or program manager for learning and development role. I have over 20 years experience in e-learning development and managing learning and development programs. I don't have a specific company as a target, but I'm looking for mid to large size companies that have an L&D org within them and need someone to manage those programs. I do have contacts at eBay and Fidelity where I've worked previously. And my name is Rajesh Nidwanaya. Thank you.
Rhonda Sellers.
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Sellers. I'm a construction specifications writer for architects. I'm either between jobs or retired. Not sure which. I might be available for the right opportunity, but I wanted to check in today and find out who's looking for what, and I wanted to hear the presentation. So I'm looking forward to it. Good to see everyone.
Rosina.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I am your Career Tip of the Week host. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. I'm looking for the position of Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner or Senior Recruiter position. I need contacts at Goldman Sachs, Deloitte, Delta Dental, Unum Dental, MetLife, Walmart, either the corporate office in Bentonville or the Texas Home Office in Carrollton, ADP, USAA, and TIAA. I have contacts at a variety of different companies because I've worked across a variety of industries. So as I hear those companies, I'll reach out directly to the people requesting them. And again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner or Senior Recruiter.
Scott Boudreau.
Good morning, everybody. Scott Boudreau, Certified Planning Inventory Management. Looking for a job in central New Jersey remotely, specializing in inventory control or production planning. If it has a part number, I can manage it. If it doesn't, I'll create one. Scott Boudreau.
Cunningham.
I already went earlier.
Okay. Tim Cookie.
Good morning. My name is Tim Kluge. I'm an information security analyst. My target companies are Toyota or Capital One. I have contacts at PepsiCo. Again, my name is Tim Kluge.
Tim Haney.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Haney. I am looking for roles in customer success specialist or implementation specialist. My target companies include Caterpillar or Gartner. I have a contact at Gartner as well as Dallas College. My name is Todd Haney.
Thanks, Todd. Did I miss anyone online?
Michael Wilk.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Wilk. I'm looking for a senior quality engineer or quality lead position in aerospace. My target companies are Collins Aerospace, DRS, and SNC. And my name is Michael Wilk. Thank you.
Kathy Dixon. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Dixon. I'm a senior technical writer with extensive experience documenting hardware, application, and system software, and processes and procedures. I help technical teams explain their creations to users to simplify and help the users make the most of it. I am industry agnostic. I've worked for computer manufacturers, and the last 5 years have been spent in the fuel and convenience store industry with 7-Eleven and Circle K. Other than that, my contacts are pretty old. I split my time between the Colony, Texas and Albert, Texas, and I'm only interested in remote work. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Thanks. Kathy Dixon, Senior Tech Writer.
Good morning, everyone. Vitaly Platonov is here. I'm looking for a position of a supply chain manager or logistics specialist in preferably in automotive or manufacturing of equipment. I need contacts at Stellantis Financial here in Dallas, also Lucid and Raytheon. Oh, sorry, Rivian, excuse me. I have contacts at Hyundai Motor America and International, a manufacturer of buses and trucks. My name is Vitaly Platonov. Thank you.
David Watrous.
I've been.
Peter already went.
Yeah. And my name is Matt Keelan. I'm an IT VP or director. Can help you out with Cherry Becker or Grant Thornton, currently looking at Hilltop and Deloitte.
I got it all. Anybody we miss?
No, but we need more information in the chat from everybody.
More information in the chat. Okay. That's a request. Yeah. You will have access to the chat text in a follow-up email later. There's a lot of good information in there. People are putting in comments, helpful ideas and things like that that we don't talk about and bring up live. So I strongly recommend that you take a look at that chat. There's some good things in there that you might want to review, and that's coming up a little bit later. So I'm going to talk about the interview success workshop, but first, when COVID came along, and Jeff Morris, who led this group, started leading 4 different groups at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And Tuesdays was LinkedIn, and so Patty Bashy has now stepped in temporarily to lead that group. So we would talk a little bit about that. Then the interview success workshop on interviewing Wednesdays. We did that online as well. And then on Thursdays, which we're not, that's not coming up now. We don't offer that right now for is resumes and networking every other week. And then on Fridays was the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, which is this group. And so that's why we are advertising these things. We're talking about these offers for you that can help you in your job search. And so what do? I am a interview success coach. There's no such certification to be an interview success coach. So I developed my own certification. Took me 3 times to pass it. It's quite expensive. But anyway, I am a self-proclaimed interview success coach. And so I love to help you gain confidence and skills in job interviews. And I do that through, let's start with the fundamentals. Does everyone agree that we're in a selling situation in an interview? We are in an audition in an interview. How we operate, how we talk, how we think, how we process, how we communicate is all seen as how we're going to do that at work as well. And so I claim it's the best interviewer that gets the job more than the best qualified candidate that gets the job. So how can you help you with that? So I'm going to drop back down to the fundamentals of selling. And I'd like to do a workshop that says, well, I want to move from a responding mindset to a selling mindset. And what do we sell? Ourselves. And I define that as who we are, what we do, and how we can help. So you have to be registered to attend. Look at my LinkedIn page. The About section is about the workshop. You have to register. So my Yahoo address is actually on that webpage. I think that, yeah, I got a slide on that. But that Yahoo address is reserved just for the workshop. I'll send you back some information just saying, here's the dates, here's times that are available for you. I want to do 1 or 2 people at a time. You interview each other, I take notes, we cover the 12 basic categories of questions, and we look at how can we sell. What are our options in selling, depending on the question, who's asking, and where you are in the process. So I'd be glad to have you participate in that. I call it learning without squirming. Are we tired of the jobless vacation and the multiple interviews iteration? Well, again, I make the inference, it's practice that makes the difference. We will land with great elation. I'm Walt Glass. If you want to send me an email, there's a QR code there that'll help you get email started to me for doing that. Okay. All right. Advanced slide. All right. I'm not sure what's going on with my PowerPoint today. Matt, could you give us some information about the pit crew? And it, by the way, Nikisha's here. She's been through both the workshop and the pit crew. You can talk to her about both and her experience. She'll give you the real skinny.
PIT crew. PIT stands for Practice Interview Team. We meet every Wednesday in this room from 1 to 3. This is a place where you can safely practice your interviews. Please come and monitor interviews. We do 3 per week. We prepare a panel by looking at your job description and your resume. And up to 3 people will interview you. You'll have an audience. It is excellent experience. Once you're comfortable to do it yourself, reach out to the Dallas Pit Crew at gmail.com, and Ron Layton will get you scheduled to do your own interview. It's the best practice in the area. So check it out.
So both of those services are offered free of charge. So there's no charge whatsoever to help you with that. So if you want to take advantage, just let us know and sign up. All right, it's time for our career tip of the week. Rosina?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Walt. All right, bear with me 1 sec. So this week's tip of the week, I kind of went back a little bit, and we, based on the topic for today being that you're creating a pitch deck to differentiate yourself. That's kind of where we're going with this tip of the week. So this tip of the week is how can you differentiate yourself from other candidates during an interview? Now, this article is provided by LinkedIn, and it's created by 47 contributors. So there's a variety of different people, HR professionals, recruiting type professionals. There's a variety of contributors to this article, which makes it about 15 pages. So literally, I'm just going to cover the 5 categories and then highly recommend that you go back and read the entire article and all of the contributing statements within it. So how do you differentiate yourself during an interview? Well, first, you want to make sure you research the company and the role. And of course, you're selling yourself on how you fit within those specifications that you discovered. Second, you want to showcase your unique value proposition. And again, make sure you're tying everything back to how can you help the company, how you fit within the company, and how you fit within that role. Make sure you're very specific about that. Third, you want to be authentic and confident, sharing, of course, who you are. Don't try and be anybody else. Fourth, you want to follow up with a thank you note. There are a lot of positions literally that have come down to, all right, which person out of, let's say, our top 3 candidates that we've interviewed with was so at least thoughtful enough to consider sending a thank you note to say, thank you for your time and effort during an interview. So just know that could be a distinction between you and others that are like you. And then fifth, there are a variety of other items to consider within the interview process. And with that said, there's a variety of different statements or add-ons, excuse me, that you can add on to share your distinction and your differences, such as other examples and stories and insights that don't fit within those other categories that I just mentioned. You know, what else would you like to add? So again, a lot of the contributors have made specific statements that would be very helpful when you're going back through this 15-page document and taking notes and trying to make sure that you are sharing yourself, your skills, and experience in such a way that it distinguishes you from everyone else they're actually interviewing. So again, this career tip of the week for this week is how you can differentiate yourself from other candidates during an interview. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Thank you much, Roseanne. Just a note that when you want to go out to the Career USA or website, you can see a list of tips of the week. And so there's a special category there, and you can go back and look at those. And you can also look at the number of hits on those. Notice that the 500 action verbs that was done back on 9/15, it's like had like 372 hits. The Indeed workbook like that was 198. So those are pretty popular. Anyway, there's several out there, the whole list of them over history. I don't know how many is out there. It's in the hundreds, I think now, Jeff. Tips and some of the favorites and things like that, they're listed. So you can go back and see those tips as well. Okay. Just to let you know, today's lunch report is going to be at Jason's Deli. It's at Parker, 4801 West Parker Street. For those of you that are local or those of you that are online that would still like to join us, we'd like to see you there at about 11:45 a.m. for lunch. It's a great networking event. There was a person who said of all the job search activities that he did, going to lunch on Friday was one of the best because he got great information, great support, great help from each other as far as helping in job search. So it's not just lunch itself, okay? All right, if you have a question that you'd like to ask during the presentation, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat box and we will have Matt monitoring the chat box for that question. We're glad to have you participate and engage. And so today, we're grateful to have Libby Magliolo. Now, Libby has a background in business. She is very well versed. She understands that sort of thing, but she somehow got into the idea of PowerPoint and how we can use it effectively. And so now we call her the PowerPoint aficionado, okay? And so, anybody here need help with PowerPoint? I do. I mean, there's not a single one of us that can't do a better job. And so she's going to help us do that today. So we're very grateful to have you do that and be with us today, Libby. So let me get your slide up.
My LinkedIn bio says nerd. I'm trying to be a little bit PC, which I appreciate. Thank you. Nerd is fine. Yes. Is that better? Yep. I feel like a pop star.
That doesn't work.
I can hardly hear anything. Anybody
No.
else got
How
the
about
same
now?
problem?
How about now? Better?
That's it. I think that mic's working.
Wonderful. Peter, if you would like to record the outgoing message on my voicemail, I would love for you to do that because of your wonderful.
Absolutely.
What a way to start. Good morning. My name is Libby Magliolo. I am excited to be here. Thanks for spending a bit of your morning with me. Today, we're talking about one tool that you can add to your tool belt for job searching, which is creating your own personal pitch deck. I'll tell you what that means, how to do it, what it looks like, and where you go as far as next steps. I am a PowerPoint nerd, again, self-proclaimed, again, expensive certification. You took all the good jokes, so I'm just going to follow in your footsteps. Professionally, I teach at SMU. I teach business presentation techniques to graduate students who would rather die than come into my class because public speaking is not a favorite of anyone. The old Jerry Seinfeld joke is that if people are going to a funeral, they would rather be in the coffin than doing the eulogy because public speaking is that hated. But a necessary skill to learn how to communicate in a business environment. I also run my own business, teaching corporate professionals the same thing, how to build and deliver excellent presentations that hopefully audiences don't hate. I always think about PowerPoints and I always think about presentations and how can we use the presentation format to convey information in a way that's helpful for us. Today, we're talking about one instance of PowerPoint, one instance of presentations that I like using that I call a personal pitch deck. I was afraid Walt was coming to take me off the stage. I messed it up already. Sorry, Walt.
Keep going.
Is it because I made fun of your jokes?
No, I'm just going to turn off this. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Walt and I are starting a podcast pretty soon. We're excited about it. This is mostly just to publish the we have merch, we have everything. There we go. He's got the jokes. So what are we actually talking about? When I say personal pitch deck, it's a nice kind of consulting-y term. We are talking about 2 to 4 slides that you put together for your job interview. This is something to think about as an accompaniment to a resume, to a cover letter, something that you bring physically to a job interview, as well as send to a recruiter in advance. We'll talk about that. But this is another tool that highlights you, your experience, your background in a different way. And this comes into play for later stage interviews. The usual way, the typical way of job interviewing, you have your resume that you have sweated over and put the 500 action verbs on there. That was a lot of pressure, by the way. That 500 action verbs has all the hits. So I might have to tap dance to get my numbers up that high. But the usual way, you have a resume, you have a cover letter, and you are reduced to those 2 documents. I have felt very powerless in this situation. And I have walked out of plenty of interviews where I have thought, oh, I wish they had asked this, or I wish I had gotten a chance to talk about this. I feel like I didn't get to showcase all the things that I wanted to showcase. So when I was preparing for a job interview back at Southwest Airlines, there was a job that I really, really, really wanted. I really, really, really wanted it. I worked up to that interview for a month. I was researching, I was taking notes, I was doing all those things. But the thing I got worried about was all of this is happening in my living room. When I walk into that job interview room, they're not going to see all of this prep that I did. They're not going to see the amount of research and planning and thought that I put into preparing for this interview. So I thought I just want some way to make it clear that I did all this work and I want them to see that. So I thought, well, I know how to put together slides. I'll put together a couple of slides. So this is not replacing anything from the usual process. We are adding on one additional thing. Differentiators were talked about ahead of this. This I see as a huge differentiator, is putting together a couple of slides. Again, I mentioned earlier, a personal pitch deck is 2 to 4 slides that highlights your experience in a different way. This can certainly be PowerPoint if you're a fan of Google Slides or Canva or others. There's nothing magic about PowerPoint. You can certainly use whatever it is that you like as far as presentation software. I'll walk through a couple of examples on what should be in there, and at the end I have a link if you would like to use my template. I'll give you a download of that at the end. Why do I love it? Like I mentioned, it makes your preparation tangible and visible. Preparation is invisible. You can do all the preparation for an interview and walk into an interview room and not have your best day. And it feels like that preparation is for naught. This makes your preparation tangible and visible. I don't know why, but there's something kind of magic about bringing something in that you prepared specifically for that interview. Recruiters are very dazzled by this. They see the preparation that went in, they see the thought that went in ahead of this. Because when you're preparing for a job interview, all these things that you're doing, reading the job description, getting your resume ready, picking out what to wear. I always save this to too late in the process, and then I need to get the clothes steamer out at midnight. I'm sure that hasn't happened to any of you before. Got a clothes steamer online, $8, best purchase of my life. You have to do the Google Maps. You practice your interview answers with each other, your spouse, the pit crew, whoever it is. But all these things happen before the interview. And like I said, the interviewer doesn't see any of them happen. And that always made me feel very, very nervous. I wanted them to know. I wanted them to know that I prepared. I wanted them to know that I thought about this a lot and I did a lot of work. So I wanted them to know that I had done this preparation. It makes your preparation tangible and visible. So when you walk into an interview, you know, you're subject to whatever questions that get thrown at you. Tell me about a time when. What is your greatest weakness? Just ask my husband and children. They have a long, long list. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be? You're very much subject to whatever comes at you in the room. Hopefully, the goal is that when you bring in a couple of targeted slides that are visual and engaging and highlight your experience, people turn and say, oh, I have no idea that you have experience with this software. Oh, I have no idea that you did this project. Tell me more about that. Oh, I didn't realize that you had worked on XYZ company. I'd love to hear more about that. Oh, this ad campaign that you put together is super interesting. Tell me more about that. The thing about these questions is I am prepared to answer all of them, because not only does it focus on material that I put together, but it's material from my past. I know this better than anyone. I may or may not be able to answer well, how would your coworkers describe you in 3 words? But I know how to describe, well, tell me about the project, this project that you worked on and had these amazing results. This puts the power, this puts the control a little bit more back in your court, because it's information that you are experienced in and know how to talk about because it's you. It's also a really good tool to structure your interview preparation. When you've gone through a million interviews, it's hard to sit down and prepare for one more. When you start preparing this deck, it gives you an excuse to structure your stories and think about, what are the major takeaways? What are the things that I want people to know about my project, this specific background? So it gives you an excuse to sit down and get your thoughts together, which I find really helpful. So we've talked about the value of a deck. We've talked about how 2 to 4 slides can be a differentiator and something visual that accompanies you in the interview process. So what do you actually do? What do you actually include in this deck? Because you may be thinking, well, my resume kind of covers it all and my cover letter kind of covers it all as well. So what's the purpose? Sure, we all know the statistics about how often folks spend with resumes, and there's a lot of information in there. And if you're like me, you try and find the smallest readable font that includes every single thing possible in your resume. So what do you actually include? Here's what I like to include. This is my opinion, but resume highlights. Your resume is a crowded, packed document that has a lot of great information in it. It's hard for any one thing to stand out in that resume. Everything's written in the same font size, everything's written in the same font. It's hard for any one thing to stand out. What's the 1 or 2 things that you want to stand out from your resume that you absolutely do not want to be missed? Are there specific projects that you worked on? Maybe in your background, there was a massive transformation or a massive implementation that you were in charge of, and it was a huge success story, and you want to highlight that project experience. This is a great place to do that. That might be one bullet on your resume, but it can be an entire slide in this deck. Plans for this role. You want to show in any role that you are already thinking about how to be successful in that role, as well as how to add benefit to the company. Putting some type of a 30, 60, 90-day plan together, or an action plan, or my first 6 months on the job, I would plan to do this, implement this, institute this, shows that you are already thinking about how to add value in that new role. Shows that you do not need to be handheld, shows that you are not passive. It shows that you are taking an active role in thinking how to be successful at that new company. This is what a kind of resume highlights slide can look like. You'll notice that all of this information is information that you do have on your resume, but people are very visual in nature. This, to me, is a lot easier to scan and a lot easier to look at and understand takeaways than an entire resume. What I like about this is what I call it's glanceable. So think about a billboard. When you are firing down 75 and you see a billboard is glanceable. You get the takeaways of a billboard very quickly because you only have a second or two to look at it. And so it's a couple of words, it's very visual in nature. You get the takeaways very quickly. Slides, and I'm gonna try not to put my professor hat on, slides should be glanceable. Slides are a visual medium. Slides are not to be used for tons and tons of text because people's brains cannot read as well as listen to you at the same time. This is a more visual look of your resume. It highlights the most essential things that are relevant to that role, and it focuses your story. It focuses the couple of things that you want to make sure are not missed. You are not trying to recreate your entire resume on this slide. Absolutely not. They have your resume. This is to accompany your resume, bring your resume to life in a new way. Highlights relevant skills and experience that are especially relevant to that job. I will duck, get out of the way. I was told very specifically by Walt not to leave a specific room of the room. So it cramps my style a little bit. A 30, 60, 90-day plan, like I talked about, and we will circulate this deck and you will get a link to the template that these slides are from. Our 30, 60, 90-day plan. Again, this is not something that you have on your resume. Your plans for success in the new role. If you have tons of thoughts of you need to implement this inventory costing system that's going to save you this much money and it's going to be so beneficial for the team and all of that, that doesn't appear anywhere on your resume. And you don't want to wait to get asked that in a job interview and maybe not get asked that. So your 30, 60, 90-day plan helps show here are all the brilliant things that I want to do that will add value to this role, to this company when I start. It shows that you've thought about how to be successful, and it shows that you have thought about how to add value. If you have specific projects that you have done in the past, you can highlight the project. This follows kind of the STAR interview format: situation, task, action, result. I almost blanked on the A there. That was a bad moment. But you can highlight the project in a way that's different than just text-based on your resume. This is a great place to include photos, visuals, even if it's a photo of a document that you put together or a photo of a report that you put together. People respond better visually to something than they do just text. So this is a space where you can include visuals of some kind. But if there's a project that you really, really would like to talk about because it is representative of your work and your skill set, this is a great way to do that. It shows that you have been successful in the past, but it also shows that you have relevant experience to what you will be asked to do on the job, especially if you are slightly career switching, slightly moving into a new realm. This is a way to show that you do have relevant experience. Maybe it doesn't pop out on your resume, but this is a way to show that you do have some relevant experience. This is an example of one of my former students, actually. She was a career switcher. She was moving from the nonprofit space and she wanted to go into consulting. So she put together a short deck, this pitch deck, to talk about her skills and bring her skills to life. So this is her resume highlights slide. She has a a bit of a timeline there on the left. And she also has a lot of photos here. This is a perfect use of slide space because it brings her experience, it brings her story, and it brings notable items from her past to life in a way that just doesn't come out on the resume, just a plain text-based, bullet-heavy resume. This gives lots of talking points, lots of things for an interviewer to ask about, but it also makes her appear more multidimensional just immediately because it brings her and her resume and her experience to life in a different way. A high-level 30, 60, 90-day view. Since she was switching into a new career, since she was switching into a new industry, she wanted to make it clear that she had already given thought to how to be successful in this new role. So she put together a high-level 30, 60, 90-day priority slide. And then she put together a project highlight slide. Again, like I said, she was switching from the nonprofit world to the consulting world. And so she wanted to show a project that was very much in the nonprofit realm, but showed that she had great managerial experience and had a track record of success and could manage very large projects in a way that brought success. Again, a movie poster is an amazing way to highlight your experience working with this specific project. It brings it to life. I certainly want to ask, okay, tell me about this movie. Tell me what you did with this movie in a way that just doesn't pop out on your resume. She also talked about how she spends her free time. I know this is a hotly debated thing about whether you include hobbies on your resume and that type of thing, but she has hobbies that are safe to talk about in an interview, and these can be really good connection points with an interviewer, and just shows again the multiple dimensions of her as a person. I once interviewed someone and we talked about fun facts, and she said, I'm a huge Sex and the City fan of the TV show. And I said, not a fun fact that we want to share in the interview, but hiking, running, traveling, volunteering, these are all kosher things that are okay. So if you're a diehard Sex and the City fan, maybe leave that for lunch at Jason's Deli and not for the job interview room. I mean, she took a swing. I'll give her that. She took a swing. These are some slides that I have put together in the past. As a person who teaches this now, I will say they are too text heavy. They are too text heavy. I feel a lot of shame about that, but this feels like a safe place that I can tell you that it is too text heavy. I know that. I understand that. I understand. Safe place. What I wanted to do, I was switching into a new realm. Sir, that was not supposed to get as many laughs as it did, which worries me that it was laughs for the wrong reason. Too text heavy. So what I wanted to do was highlight my skills. I was switching into a role that was very different from what I had done in the past. And so what I was trying to show was I have the core skills that are needed for this job, because sometimes people will look at a resume and say, hey, you don't have the exact job title in your past that I'm looking for, and then we'll discount you. And what you can do instead is say, hey, I do not have the exact job title you're looking for. I do have the core skills that you are looking for. And that's what I was trying to show here, albeit with too much text. This was a long time. It is colorful. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's color. I love that you're on my team. There's color. There's icons, and I bolded a couple words. So this gets a participation trophy, but would not fly in my class today. 30, 60, 90-day plan. Again, too text heavy. Learn from my mistakes. Do not be me. But I will go into professor mode just for a second. Titles and subtitles on slides are a phenomenal way to get across the headline of your slide and the intended takeaway of your slide very quickly. Titles and subtitles are the first place that the eye goes on a slide. They're really valuable slide real estate because of that. Never waste a slide title with title like data or results. Tell me more. Tell me what the data is. Tell me what the results were. This is the first place that your eye goes, so use it wisely. You don't want to waste it on just very high level titles that don't tell you anything else. If you took away all the other content on the slide, you want people to know what the slide is saying just by the title and the subtitle. The other thing I'm here to tell you, this is a do as I say, not as I do thing. Not too much text. Again, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. A lot of shame about that. But proposed 30, 60, 90-day plan, just showing I have a very tactical plan for what it is that I want to do in this new role. This hopefully puts people at ease and shows They have thought about how to be successful in this new role. And hey, they are talking about things that we badly, badly need to tackle. And I am glad that they are thinking about this already. And that means that day one, we can put them to work. Additional priorities and focus areas. This can be if you're worried about certain gaps in your resume, if you're worried that you're not going to get a chance to talk about something, an additional slide like this can help with that. So when do you actually do this? How do you actually bring this to life in your interview process? I am a big fan of bringing this in a little bit later on. For a first round or a phone screener, no need to put together something like this. Your phone screener may be with HR, so someone who's not in the job function that you're going to be actually interviewing for or working with. So get past the first round of screener. Once you have some kind of an in-person interview, a second round, a final round, this is a wonderful differentiator. How do you actually get it to the recruiter? This is what I have found to be successful and would encourage. You can pair it with a confirmation of your interview. Hey, really looking forward to our time tomorrow, confirm our time, 11:30, whatever it is. I want to send along some material that I created in preparation for our time, highlights my project experience, etc. So feel free to use this exact language. Anytime you do anything in PowerPoint, always, always, always send as a PDF file. I always take notes in the speaker's notes, and I do not want those notes to get to a recruiter. This takes away any sound, animation, extra slides, anything. So send this as a PDF file. My experience is that recruiters and hiring managers will then send this on to the interviewer or will print it out for the interviewer, and you may walk in and your slides are just sitting there, printed out, ready to go. During the interview, your goal is to be seen as prepared and not pushy. Bring it up once and only once. If someone says, hey, do you have any experience with XYZ software? Absolutely. I put together a slide and I'd love to tell you a little bit more about it. If they flip to it or if they want to look at your paper copy, that's fantastic. If they don't take the bait and if they don't want to look at it, that is absolutely fine. Thing is, the hiring manager, the recruiting coordinator, everyone still has your slides. You still are showing, I put together material for this conversation. They will have it before the interview. They will have it after the interview. You do not want to bring this up over and over and over and leave a bad taste in the hiring manager's, the interviewer's mouth. So be prepared. You don't want to be seen as pushy. Bring it up once, bring it up only once. I would have it on the table right next to you, print out a couple of copies and just know that they probably will have seen it before and will likely look at it afterward. So again, what we're hoping to do here is shift the questions that you are going to get asked. We don't want to be completely reliant on whatever questions that the interviewer wants to ask. We are hoping to shift towards, wow, this project looks really cool. Tell me more about this. Hey, you do have experience with XYZ. Hey, I'd love to hear more about this. We are trying to shift to you talking about things that you are fully prepared to talk about and fully experienced to talk about because they're exactly from your past and you have prepared to talk about these things in your deck. I like that a pitch deck is more visual in nature. Resume is just a wall of text and a wall of bullet points, and people don't spend as much time as they should scanning them. This is unique. This is a differentiator. This is not something that many people do. You will stand out just for merit of putting something different together. This is something that helps you prepare. Anytime that I have to freshen up my resume, I only change the exact bullets that I need to. I don't look at anything else, and I want to be done with it as soon as humanly possible. Whereas when you're putting together a couple of slides, something new, what your brain is doing is figuring out your story, figuring out the story that you want to tell, the things that you want to highlight as you are putting that together. And ideally, it helps you to control the interview, control the conversation a little bit more. I don't want to get asked questions off of a list. I'd rather talk about the things that I'm prepared to talk about, the things that I have done well in my past. Look at this as a tool in your tool belt. This is not a necessity by any means. If you hear all of this and you think, this is not for me, then absolutely leave it. This is not a necessity. This is not anything that anyone is expecting by any means. But if this is something that you think could be really beneficial, or if you planned an event, or if you have a dashboard that you're really proud of, or something that you want to show visually, this could be a great tool. look at it as a tool in your tool belt, not something that you have to do. I'm going to send out this link. I will send it to Matt after this. So if you want to use the template that I showed you through some of this QR code will take you online. If you use the code FOCUS, you'll get a free download of it. Again, there are lots of great templates out there. Canva has great free templates. Slides Go has great free templates. There are lots and lots and lots of very professional PowerPoint templates online. The Microsoft 365 website has a lot as well. I owe Matt a list of all of these because he was grilling me beforehand for PowerPoint tips. Matt, we got to get started. Come on, man. So yeah, feel free to take this template. This is meant to be plug and play that you can just plug your information in and use it there. That is all I have for you. There's my LinkedIn info. I would love for all of you to reach out and connect and let me know how I can help you. And I would absolutely love to look at your personal pitch deck. If you put together slides, I would love to be a resource however I can. I still remember the names, faces, and favors of everything that everyone has done for me in the job search process, and I remain indebted to them and grateful to them my entire life. So anything that I can do to help, I would absolutely love to be a resource for you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. You are much more attentive than my grad students who are often on TikTok, and I'm trying to give them a career-changing skill, but I'm kind of cramping their style. So I'm happy to answer any questions about PowerPoint presentations, pitch decks, my grad students, and my favorite excuses I've ever gotten for why they can't come to class. I've got a long list of those. Anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions that come up if there are questions. Yes, sir. And I'm told that you need a microphone. This makes me feel like a talk show host, and honestly, this is a pretty big day for me. This is exciting. Hey, I got some laughs. Thank you.
Thanks for presenting to us today. This is great information. Good. One question that's kind of come up a few times in the discussion of providing like a 30, 60, 90 plan to your prospective employer is how do you protect the intellectual property that you come up, the ideas? You just don't give them a deck with all of their solutions and then they say, oh, well, we got this, we don't need you. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's a really good question. I would say keep it high level and keep it fairly thematic. So you don't want to give your absolutely detailed bullet point on day one, I would do this. Day two, I would implement this software solution. So keep it fairly high level and keep it thematic. So, you know, sit down with team members and have intake sessions to understand current pain points and, you know, implement solution to cost saving solutions, whatever it is, things that are high level enough. You're not trying to create a document that anyone can take and put into action. You're just trying to create a document that shows I have put thought into this and I am strategic minded and I know what I would do to be successful in this job. So not too detailed, not too much text, high level thematic is the way to go. Great question.
Grace, I'm not sure how to exactly say this, so I'm going to try my best. The question is along the 30, 60, 90 day. One school of thought that I've heard quite often is that you are being presumptuous when you're putting it together because you don't know what the exact set of problems are, right? So therefore, if you do this thing, it can and may backfire. And there were several other reasons behind it. I'm just kind of asking you and anybody else that wants to weigh in, because I was trying to put it, and there was some people said vehemently against it because it can actually, because you don't know it.
Right.
So,
oh, interesting. Well, I'd love to hear other thoughts. My thought on that is any 30, 60, 90-day plan should include the fact that you have a lot of fact finding to do and understanding current systems and understanding teams and limitations and show that you're coming in to do a lot of listening. So any 30, 60, 90-day plan should include that. I think also the attitude that it's presented with is very important. If it's presented with a lot of arrogance of, oh my goodness, you people are deeply flawed and I know exactly how to fix you. I think that attitude can turn off an interviewer. But if you come in with the attitude of, here's what I plan to do. I understand that there's a lot that I'm going to learn along the way and that this may change, but from my view, from what I know, the best of my knowledge, this is how I believe I can add value. Will that change? Absolutely. But this is what's been successful. This is what a 30, 60, 90 day has looked like in my past roles that has made me successful. So I think, you know, not being too presumptuous that I know every single thing. No one can know every single thing from the outside looking in, and the attitude with which you present it is very important. It's a great question though.
A couple of comments. This is, well, number one, doing your research, doing your informational interviews, this is where you can find out what's going on in the company. You get in and talk to someone, and you ask them what's happening, what's going on, what your problems, what are your challenges, and things like that. And your initial interview, you start thinking about what is it that I can find out to start building on 30, 60, 90 days. And it's tailored specifically to that, because I think you said you don't really introduce it on the first interview. You wait until the second or something like that. So if the first interview is just a screening interview, that's not the first interview. If you can't find out any information to that, as part of the recruiter due diligence, particularly now if you've got an external recruiter as opposed to an internal recruiter, you ask them some questions, what do they know about the company, what do they know about this, and you can try to get information there. If it's an internal recruiter, they will have some knowledge about the company, and so you can ask some questions there about what's going on, what's happening. That's where you can find out the number of people they want to interview. That's where you find out who you might be interviewing with and all that kind of information. So that you can try to do some research on the industry, what are the industry trends, look at their webpage and look at their news events, see what's going on in the news and see what's happening. Look at their leadership, look up their leadership and find out about the leadership and where they've been and what's coming. So you can gather and research a lot of that information. Then you can say, maybe this is just an example of saying, well, here's one thing that might apply, that might do, but this gives you an example of how I would approach the first 30, 60, 90 days. And so I took this as an example, and then you can maybe talk it through that way. So that's just my thoughts off the bottom of my head. Sean?
Libby, thank you very much. Very good. I've used this, not as nice as yours, for actually getting an interview. I've walked into an office and handed something similar, saying, hey, this is, I'd love to talk to XYZ, and here you go. And it has worked more often than it has not. And then it's always come on up in there. My comments on this, especially from some of us who might not be in the creative world like you are, I manage people like you, to find people like her who can, number one, tell you that white space is your friend, that a little goes a long way. And if you're like me and have issues with certain colors and can't tell what they are, you need somebody behind you to tell you, gee, no, on that. You don't need a ton of color in a lot of these, and it works really well. But these are great ideas. Thank you very much.
Penn is a paid actor, so he's just, I take him places who he says nice things about me. I will give you my one quick PowerPoint analogy. Yes, I appreciate you. I was talking about the analogy of a backpacker going on a hiking backpacking trip. This is purely theoretical. I don't like to leave my house. I also don't like to put on hard pants. So what I lovingly call hard pants versus soft pants that we all wore during the pandemic. So this is a really special day that I put on hard pants. But when you go hiking, and backpacking, from what I understand, you don't put every single thing that you may possibly need in your backpack because you pay a price for those things. And the price is the weight on your shoulders. Every single thing you put in your backpack has to serve a purpose because you are carrying that weight. I want you to always think about slides, not just pitch deck slides, always think about slides the same way. Every single thing that you put on a slide comes at a cost, and the cost is your audience's attention. Number one, they can only focus on so many things on a slide, and number two, if they're looking at your slide and reading it, they're not listening to you. So don't give them too many things to do, don't give their brain too many things to look at, and don't essentially create your own competition where your interviewer is reading your slides instead of listening to you. Make it high level, make it visual, use lots of white space. Exiting professor mode. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Keisha Rodriguez. I have a couple of questions, actually.
Okay.
All right. One about, can you go back and talk a little more in depth about when and how
Yes.
you share your profile, your pitch deck.
Yes.
In addition to 30, 60, 90 days, also a question that you can ask at an interview. What do you see me doing in this first 30, 60, 90 days? How do you reconcile the two? The fact that you already came up with an idea beforehand.
Yes, great question, both of those. So for getting it to an interviewer, you have had some contact with somebody with some email address at some point, whether it be a recruiting coordinator, the HR manager, anyone that you have had contact with to confirm the interview, to set up the interview, whoever it is, that's who you want to send this to. Whoever's email address you have. Hi, I'm excited about the interview tomorrow. I prepared a little bit of material that I'd love to talk about. Here it is. So send it to them digitally, and then also bring a couple paper copies with you physically. Set them out on the table. Ideally, you'll get asked about it. Hey, thanks so much for sending that document last night. Can you walk through it? Can you tell me more? 30, 60, 90 day. When you're asking about it, I would say if you're asking about the question, just ask the question. Don't use it as a backdoor to say, well, actually, I've got a plan for you. So if you're asking the question, just ask the question. Go ahead. No, please.
It's already in the package. I guess if you already put it in the package, don't ask it as a question, but because of the way the interview evolved, you might feel the need to ask the question.
You certainly can. And I would just preface it with, I have some thoughts as to what the first 3 months would look like in this role, but I would love to hear your perspective on what you think the first quarter, the first couple of months would look like in this role. So I think you can ask it, just don't use it as a backdoor to talk about your own 30, 60, 90 day plan. You still get credit for the fact that you put it together. Questions?
And one of the things I talk about in the workshop is at the end of that first response is to ask a question. And one of the questions I recommend is, what can I do for you in the next 6 to 9 months for you to have done an outstanding job? So what are you looking for? How can I help you? Type question. And then you take notes of it and you say, what should I pay attention to first? And now we're looking at 30, 60, 90 days as far as priority of things. And that can help us get that content. So we can start building that 30, 60, 90 day back as we go through the process. Okay, Mike.
Thank you for the presentation, very helpful. Scenario for you. So assume you have a full slate of interviews with a company where you're there all day talking to like 7 or 8 candidates, but you're well along the, or interviewers where you're well along the process. Is this something that you use through that whole process, or be very strategic about it?
So if you have 7, 8 interviews in the same day or the whole process, or yeah, I would absolutely use it. From my experience, folks don't get a chance to talk to each other during that super day. And so you treat them as discrete, finite experiences where John Smith didn't get to talk to Jane Smith, who just interviewed you before. And so you're probably gonna have to tell the same stories and the same background and everything. And they may care about different things in the interview deck, which is great. One might care about your 30, 60, 90 day plan. One might care about your project that you want to talk about. So yes, absolutely. Don't assume that just because interview number 8 is at the end of the day that they know everything that the other interviewers talked about. From my experience, they've been in meetings all day and this is at 4 o'clock on their calendar. And so you treat it as a brand new interview, a brand new experience where they have no existing knowledge from the other interviewers. But yes, absolutely. Just bring enough copies for everybody.
And then one follow-up, say similar scenario, but you're in a Zoom or virtual environment. You ever, when referencing these slides, move to them, present them on your screen, or just have this as a separate diagram?
Really good question. So yes, make sure you send it in advance. With a virtual environment, I would tread a little bit more lightly and ask if it's okay if you share your screen. If they're enthusiastic about it, excited about it, then do so. If they don't take the bait, or if they don't say, yes, please do, yes, that's okay, then just leave it. They have the document and they'll have it afterwards. But I would ask permission to share. Hey, is it okay if I share my screen? I'm happy to give you a more specific answer to that question in the material that I put together. So ask first. If they take the bait, then go for it. Otherwise, they have the material that you put together.
Thank you.
And they're gonna have to give you permission to share screen anyway.
That's true. That's true. Yes, ma'am.
Your grad students, what classes are they taking? When do they take your class? Was part of the curriculum?
Yes, all MBA students have to take business presentation techniques and they learn how to physically build a PowerPoint presentation and then deliver it. So we have the PowerPoint portion of it, but we also have the public speaking portion of it. The full-time MBAs have to take it in their first year, and then the professional MBAs get a little bit more leeway, but they all have to take it.
Can I audit that class?
100%.
Let me know when you give it.
I'll make you speak and present, but please come.
Where were you 30 years ago at George Washington University? I could have used you.
Man, thank you. It's one of those things that I feel a lot about presentation skills the way I feel about personal finance. Of when you're learning it, it's like I don't understand how this applies to me. And then you get into a professional scenario, and then your boss says, "Hey, I need you to present to the CFO because I'm going to be out," and then all the color, drains from your face, and you realize, oh, I do actually need to know how to give a presentation. My very quick story, my father was an accounting professor and he taught financial statement analysis, and students, I don't need to know this, whatever. And so he gets a call one day from a student, and it's very quiet and it's very muffled. And the student said, "Hey, Professor Magliolo, can you give me a quick?" And so what he found out was happening was that the student was hiding in the copy room and was asking essential questions because he needed to do some financial statement analysis. So you don't need it until you need it. But I'm a huge fan of everybody having presentation skills that they need. We all communicate. Whatever your job is, whatever the job it is that you are seeking, we all communicate. Every meeting with your boss. A job interview, like you mentioned, is a sales scenario. We all communicate, so we should know how to do it well. Build a time machine. I'm there.
I have a question. You said you were going to have some tips and resources and things that you could pass on to us.
Yes, mostly for Matt, but if Matt wants to share with the
we're going to
group.
use it to everybody too.
Okay.
Could you kind of give us a review of what those would be?
Sure. I have my Madonna microphone. Canva is a presentation resource. Many folks use this to put together social media content. Canva has a freemium model, so there's a lot that you can get for free. Really, really gorgeous presentation templates. Slides Go, all one word, is a great resource. Canva, Canva, and I'm happy to send this in a note, my favorite free resources out there. Slides Go, Canva, the Microsoft 365 website actually has a lot of great free PowerPoint templates, but I always encourage you to start with a template because there's lots of great built-in design features, and it differentiates you from just using a plain white background with black bullets and text on there. So use a template because somebody else has done the hard work of designing. But yes, happy to send along a couple resources. Canva, Slides Go, Microsoft 365. There are also templates out there available for purchase. Some that you can get for a couple of bucks, and they look really nice and professional. But start with the template. Using AI. Matt wants credit for his using AI of presentations. There are nice AI softwares out there. Beautiful AI is one of them. Gamma is another one of them. I have not found an AI-backed presentation software that is actually hugely helpful, because if you were creating your own pitch deck, you have to feed it a lot of information about you and what it is that you're doing in order to do that. AI presentation softwares aren't great with data visualizations. They are wonderful for templates and formats and making things look pretty. They're fun to play with. I have not found one that makes my life substantively easier yet, but I am an avid user of ChatGPT. I call him Chad. I say that, and Chad and I put together a lot of things. I use Chad daily.
You're getting a lot of love on my.
Oh, thank you.
Questions online?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're not at lunch, Libby, we'll arrange to record your outgoing voicemail another way.
I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, you should do voiceover work if you haven't looked into it already.
I actually looked yesterday at temporary work to narrate books. So they pay up to $300 for a completed hour. I was like,
Oh, there we go. You heard it here
yeah.
first. No, go ahead.
Is the audit open to all of us?
100%.
How do you make that happen? What do you do?
I post, this is not a plug, I swear, I post content online on LinkedIn, so lots of presentation videos and small snippets. So if you want some of that content, it's all the stuff that I wish my grad students would listen to, but they don't. So it's on LinkedIn, all for free. You can go back. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I don't dance, I promise, I'm too old for that. But I put all, you know, snippets of presentation stuff online. You can always get in touch with me if you ever have any questions.
Hey, Libby, just so you know, I clicked on the first link and they wanted me to pay $20.
Yes, there's a discount code. If you, in the checkout process, you put focus as the discount code, you get a free download.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I'll send that info out.
can validate that because
Excuse me. Hey,
Also, I
Libby,
came out, yes, please.
I wish you had been around when I went through my MBA at TCU. Now I understand why I should have paid double the price to go to SMU. Thanks.
Oh man, I don't have
Retraining, because that's the one thing that's missing, and I'm very serious from the MBA programs, is they don't give you great resources or training for what do you do after you finish your MBA and how to best find a job. That's why these groups that I'm following now while I'm looking for a job has been helpful, and your presentation is very good. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I really appreciate that. The grad students were the poorest people at SMU. We always joke that in the parking garage, you could tell the grad students' cars from the undergrads because the undergrads were driving the McLarens, and then we were driving the 1991 Honda Accords with the paint falling off and held together by duct tape because we were there on scholarship. So, yes. Yes. We ate a lot of, you know, pizza from club meetings or whatever. That was how I stayed alive for 2 years. Free pizza. Nikki has a question online.
Excellent job, Libby. Thank you so much for sharing this information. Last year, I put together a deck, not as polished as this, but I think I still did fairly well in the interview. So this is great to have this information. And you may have stated this, but are you like recommending that you maybe constantly change the deck? Meaning, if it's an industry that's a little bit more like playful and creative, then yeah, maybe the personal slide that you share the example is appropriate. And then tailoring, like looking at the job description and kind of understanding what you think is key, and then trying to draw that out into the slide. So like kind of tweaking the deck for the industry, the position each time. And maybe you covered that, but I was trying to make sure I'm clear that if we need to be tweaking it every time to make sure that we're hopefully kind of hitting the nail on the head.
It's a really, really good question, and taps into the presentation principle of knowing your audience. Always, always. If you're interviewing at an advertising firm, then you can likely be playful and colorful and show that side of your personality. Whereas a consulting firm has to be a little bit more buttoned up. Maybe you don't have the about me slide. And this is true, all things job interviewing, you want to find the balance between something that is personalized and can help you be successful, but is also sustainable. And you don't have time to spend 6 hours in PowerPoint every single time that you have a job interview. If you're applying for things that are largely in the same industry or largely in the same function, you may not have to do a lot of changing. You may have to tweak it and totally agree on your idea about pulling language from the job description and making it unique to that. So find the balance between something that is a bit personalized for the role, but is sustainable, that you can modify a bit and do for each interview. It's a really good question.
Thank you very much.
You know, I just had a thought. If I'm working in a company and they see me as the PowerPoint guru, I'll get a lot of people coming to me for help with their PowerPoints, which is networking, which is helping others, which is doing things. So if you put PowerPoint down on your resume as something that you better know it. All right, have that experience, but it's just a thought that says, hey, if I can help people do that, that's one of the areas that might be possible.
100%. It gets you. I've gotten into a lot of rooms I had no business being in because I could do PowerPoint. I'll give you the consulting term that you should put on your resume too: executive storytelling. Executive storytelling. So when you have that presentation skill set, basically you're communicating to people that I know how to take a lot of complex information and communicate it succinctly at a very high level, and that skill set is always very much in demand. I also figured out what your podcast should be called: Glass Half Full. Thank you. I mean, that one's for free. This is the banter that's gonna attract the listeners. Anything else? Yes, sir.
The one slide that I really paid attention to because I was asked. Okay. Is that you said you mainly do this on a second or third interview. And when I've been in situations where I'm doing a second or third interview with a company, conversation I have in that third interview is extremely different.
Yes.
Than the conversation in the first.
Right, absolutely.
Matter of fact, at one of my third interviews was a fellow Okie, and he put his boots up on the desk and leaned back, and I knew I had the job.
Right.
It was, does he like me?
Right.
Can I be a good Okie?
Right.
And one of the things I looked at your deck was you did have the personalized stuff. So most of the stuff that I do, I never talk about my, hobbies, interests and things like that. But I have been in those situations, like again, with the Okie who put his boots up on the desk. That is where he wants to go. And if I've provided this deck for technical and 3060 and how I think, is there a good way or a better, program that if I find out I'm in that situation and I really want to go to that about me deck, I can real quickly do it and get there so that I can pivot on a dime and stay with this interviewer and close the deal?
I think it's a really good question and speaks to the fact that, yes, the second interview may be, hey, does this person have the technical skills and the background and all that? And it may get more fit focus as you go along. I think it's okay to have that more personal information in there, and it's there if people want to ask about it. I think it's okay as long as it's professionally done. It's okay to have that in there, and second interview will likely pivot more technical, and third maybe more fit focused. But I think it's okay to have, a family picture in there, or your hobbies, or whatever it is. I think it's okay to have that in there, especially if you're getting the feeling that the company is very culture based and loves talking about family, and you can feel at your interviewer like that. But if you're getting the feel that that's going to be okay in that conversation, then I think it's certainly fine to include it in there. Well, thank you all. I appreciate your time and attention. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn if I can ever be of any help in the job search or with presentations down the line. I'd be happy to be a resource in any way. I'm scared of what Walt's going to say next. I'll be quiet. Is that what you want me to do?
I was going to say, let's give a hand. So that the presentation can hit in. What a good idea. So it's a great differentiator, great tool to use. I think we could start working with some ideas like that. Definitely in the help you prepare stage to prepare something like this, even if you don't use it. The ideas presented here, I think, are really good. So you can do that. But thank you so much, Libby, for coming and sharing with us today. It was a great day. So we got some time left today. So one of the things that we might want to do is kind of turn it into an open forum situation where we can try to use this time wisely to help us each other as we go forward through this. So if anyone has a comment, question, or something that they'd like to pay attention to, need some help on, we are here. Who would like to jump in? Look at your job search. What's the most difficult area you're facing? It's a good starter thing. So, here's where I really need some help with in that particular area, whether it be networking. And I do presentations, and I definitely need help with some PowerPoint. Okay, I'm trying to use some things to do that, but I'm only one step removed from the blank slide with all the bullets. So now I got some colored circles with bullets inside the colored circles, and so that doesn't much do much. But anyway, how can we help you? I am a co-leader in training on microphones.
I've come to realize that when you mentioned about the pivoting and transitioning from one role to the other, how to, I can read screen, there it is, but that's not it. Anyway, sorry. Stand in front of the camera. Job titles seem to be my most biggest challenge, finding one that fits exactly what it is I want to do. I have a concept, but I need to put it in a nice little digestible title. That way I do searches, or if I do networking, I can tell somebody, this is what I'm all about. Any suggestions?
So how many job titles do we have for our job? Like a minimum of 3 or 4. All right. But somebody be my microphone on.
Okay, so one technique that I've seen used is when you're trying to determine that optimal job title, is just come up with brainstorm list of here's all the potential ones I have, and then just do LinkedIn searches and see how many hits you get. You get one that's, gives you 800,000 versus one that gives you 80,000 in your target market, that maybe help you hone in into which titles are going to be most effective.
Create the top list.
Just brainstorm. So in terms of, the work you want to do, the role, and then maybe do some, so that's just.
Brainstorm again, that's, you get with people that you know or know you and say, okay, hi, I'm Akeisha and I'm looking, I need help, tell me, this is what I'm thinking I'd like to do, and then give out some examples of what you do and say, what do you call that? And you're gonna get a lot of people will start giving you ideas on what it is that you call that, and go from there, so.
Does anyone know how to get into LinkedIn? LinkedIn has a list of job titles. And so you want to look and see if you want to be found on LinkedIn and say, what job titles do they have so that you can.
Another technique I used, and it was many years ago, I kind of hesitate to say this, but in Google AdSense. So in my situation, am I a logistics manager or am I supply chain manager? It's the same freaking job. And what I was able to do is go into AdSense. Yes, in Google's AdSense, it's one of their analysis tools. Ad is an AD as an advertisement sense, SEN. But what that did is it came in, so I could put in supply chain manager, and it would say it comes back with 20,000 hits. And then logistics manager, I get 5,000 hits. I want to advertise myself as a supply chain manager because that's going to give me that broader. And then the other thing is whatever they're asking for in the job description is what I put on the resume. It's just a copy and paste. That sounds like a nefarious little trick. But what I find is that the interviewers usually don't like to take any time thinking because they're already busy enough. And you're just spoon feeding it back to them. As long as you can do what's in that, you're an 80% fit to that job description. You just mirror whatever job description they gave you. But those are the two things. But the AdSense was something that really helped me back in the day. What do I call myself? How do I word this? I tend to think very differently than other people because of a really messed up military background. I use terms that most people don't use. And so I go back into those types of things. Also AI now is starting to take that over.
So you got the job description and then you change the title to match the job description. But how did you think that? Okay.
Right.
How did you get the job in the first place? It's like a simple goal.
Well, because a lot of, again, partly because of AI, but LinkedIn got words.
Giving the microphone.
Going on to Indeed or into LinkedIn or any of them. Usually, again, in my example, if I put supply chain manager, I'm going to get the logistics manager jobs pulled up as well. And then what I'm doing is if ABC, for example, I always know when Samsung is looking for somebody. They are the only company that uses the term operator in their job description. So I get something from a temp agency, hey, you want to be a claims person? Claims operator. I immediately know that Samsung because they're the only ones who use that language. And so in my example, supply chain versus logistics. Supply chain, most manufacturers will use the supply chain job description. Trucking companies and 3PLs usually will use logistics. And usually in my case, those two terms are so closely linked, I'll get both job descriptions. And then when I apply, I mirror whatever they put in their description is what I put on my resume. It just seems to help. It's not logical, but it just seems to help. Also, I get you through ATS.
You are.
Okay. So the skills on Aneta, hi. Skills on LinkedIn, it usually will kind of it'll populate all different jobs that you would like to do based on your skills. So if you have your skills listed on your LinkedIn, it usually will shoot those towards you. And then if you have some of your things added from your resume or people have endorsed you, then those things as well will be emphasized as things that potential jobs and lobbed your way. So they would be fed to you naturally. Sorry, I like the passive a little bit, you know, in that. And then as far as changing your resume, there are like all kinds of, there's one I've been using this week. Cause I did creative for a long time and nonprofit and then went into high finance and all that stuff. So, I mean, when you look at what I can do versus what jobs I'm applying for, some of them seem very wide and varied. So I'll put it into this, kind of an AI resume.co. I think it's resume.co. Anyways, and it's been fantastic and easy, and it does a lot of what he's saying as far as just repeating in the job description and putting your title as whatever the title is, obviously. But then I think if you know kind of the skills you like to do, that'll give you what you want to do eventually. You'll find the job that fits those skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, IA is a great tool that can help. I am still of the group that says, your resume better represent you. And so I'm hoping that your resume, the AI tool helps you put your information into the resume rather than you going out and finding information to put into your resume. Because we are going to represent, that resume represents us. And if we're going to use something else to represent us, then I think we're off track. So I definitely think AI's got some great tools and some great helps. I like AI when I give it the information and tell it what I want you to do with it, because now I'm in control of that. And what's it called? Don't hallucinate, you know, in your prompts, so that it doesn't go out and make up stuff when you're prompting things like that. So that's a help. And there's also in the title, I'm seeing a lot of job descriptions, they have multiple titles, a title on a bar and a title on a bar and a title, you know, where you can try to be found that way. Some people use it that way. But I can tell you that there's a limitless number of job descriptions for each job. I mean, they just come up with all these titles. I mean, when did talent acquisition come up? And when did talent manager, you know, show up? You know, what happened to the word recruiter, et cetera? So we will invent more things and do things to be different. I worked with a company that changed its name 3 times. I recommended that we get a shirt with a Velcro thing with the name of it so we could rip that off and stick the new name up there because they kept happening so often. Okay, other comments, questions? Where's the microphone? Keisha, I just nominated you microphone runner.
Okay, one of the things I did want to say real quick to what you said, absolutely be true. Don't say anything that's not true. And when I talk about feeding language back to an employer, in no way, shape, or form am I talking about trying to be something I'm not. That's just being unethical for both sides of the equation. Right. So I do absolutely agree with you. One of the challenges that I'm running into, I had a job lead come up yesterday. It's an opportunity to become an intelligence analyst. And if you've ever worked around anybody who's worked in intelligence, they don't talk. What you do is secret, it's nobody's business. You don't even talk inside the office. And I'm in a situation now where I'm trying to take something that I do as a hobby for fun, and I'm trying to turn it into my last job. Or when I wrote my first novel for fun, I would go into Google Earth and I found SAM sites and I found military bases. And I found the way that military bases were being, and this skill set that I just developed on my own, I didn't go to school for it. There's a company called SIG down in Dallas who put 2 positions up on LinkedIn yesterday for an intelligence analyst. I want to do it. I really want to go after it. Finding contacts inside this company are nuts, but in general, as I'm getting older and as I'm getting to the end of my career, a lot of things I do for fun, I would actually like to do professionally. And I would appreciate any comments about how to make that kind of transaction or transition.
Doesn't all speak at once.
I'm just making sure I understand. So you're looking to basically make your hobby your profession, and how do you transition it? Is that the basic question?
Exactly. So as writing, you know, something I'm doing as a hobby, this satellite image analysis, this going back and looking at how organizations work, this kind of analysis work was something I did to write a novel, and I enjoyed doing it. I still, to this day, my girlfriend put something boring on TV, I'm on Google Earth and I'm looking at stuff and trying to figure things out. It's what I do for fun. It's just natural. But I've never really, I'm from that old school of do what you hate to make money so you can do what you love when you're too old to do it. And so what I'm really trying to do now is transition. What I do as a hobby, this intelligence analysis, historical analysis, things of that nature. I'm trying to get a job doing it. And that's something that in my age and background, I've never been told how to do.
So let me ask you a question. This is an intelligence company?
Yes.
Because intelligence companies don't like having employees on LinkedIn. I mean, it's kind of
No,
hard.
This came out of their HR.
Yeah.
And it was just a title and job description, SIG. It is Strategic Insights Group, Strategic Insights Group down on Akron. I've seen them post a couple of positions out. I have a friend of mine who is, who I'm going to be talking to this weekend, is a robotics engineer, software engineer, and really works at, he was telling me about a job where you go into Google Earth, subscribe so you can look hourly, and you count how many cars are in a parking lot to tell a company when they have to have more staff in place, when they should be running sales, when they can maximize their business. That's the kind of thing I do for fun. I just go into Google Earth, start running the plot back and start looking at where tree lines were, blah, 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 blah. And I'm trying to get that intelligence side to actually be a vocation rather than just something I screw around.
Yeah, I understand. Have you thought about just going into their lobby?
Not yet.
And
I'm getting
talking,
close.
tell somebody, say, listen, I'm really interested in the intelligence field. I love doing intelligence type work. Is there somebody that I could talk to?
Yeah, because I did get my certificate through SMU as an intelligence analyst, and I did send a, yeah. They always want more. And I'm about to go down and just stick my nose in front of somebody because I have been unsuccessful in being able to get somebody to give me an informational interview.
Don't forget your pitch deck.
Okay. Yeah, maybe doing that, maybe taking some of the photos and going, this is what I gleaned out of this. But again, it's just, it's never really been a concept until recently for me to actually, I do this for fun. Usually what I do for fun is something I never want to talk about at work because we're wild, we're crazy. I used to rock climb. It's extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. And so I've always kept my personal life away from my professional life. And that's one of the reasons why I think I'm having such a hard time trying to take this hobby and turn it into a job.
When I look at some LinkedIn people, almost all of the intelligence or the cybersecurity things, a lot of them do not put a photo on LinkedIn because they say, I know all the things that can be done with a photo and all the problems with that, and they won't put their photo on LinkedIn. Okay, other situations, other areas where we can help someone. Oh, you scratched your head. That means you volunteered. Mike?
So just one suggestion, given you have kind of a unique hobby, maybe some affiliation groups that may help other like-minded folks that have similar passions that obviously you're not going to find kind of through normal channels, veterans groups or just, other, that may be helpful for you to just talk to people and then, hey, well,
That's really good. I did last summer. Yeah, I did apply to the NSA and they wanted me to have a whole lot of college, and I am trying to build as many contacts through their outreach. So the people I'm talking to don't do intelligence work, so they go out and find people who can do it.
Right.
And the best line that I found so far was from CIA. We don't care how you got the skills, just as long as you have them. And I'm like, okay, who can I sit down and show them I have these skills? But yeah, thank you. I definitely will do that.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left for one more topic. No, he just was scratching his head, and so I picked on him. Okay, well, let's just wrap it up today here. So we got one online.
David Ramirez asked, when joining the community talent of a targeted company, is it recommended that you upload your resume? When joining the community talent of a targeted company, is it recommended that you upload your resume?
So I need some more information.
David, can you explain community talent?
I'm assuming that's typically the company that would say, hey, join our.
Need a microphone.
David, can you come off mute and explain?
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I've been doing, I've been trying to apply to jobs on different targeted companies. And then when I don't see any posting job for me, what I do, I'm joining their talent community, right? So in there, they're asking me to upload the resume, but I'm not sure if I should be doing that.
Okay, so you got an online community in the field you're looking for.
Yeah, for example, right now I'm looking at Toyota, right? So they don't have anything for me right now, but I'm gonna join their community, you know, for talent community. So I have to put in my name, my info, everything, all of my info, and they're also asking me, hey, upload your resume. Is it recommended that I upload my resume or hold off on that one?
Do you know the leader of the group?
Say that again?
Is there someone that leads that group?
No, it's just, I think it's just like.
It's just an open community?
Yeah, a feature that they have, yeah.
Okay, thoughts out there?
Okay. Is it a Toyota organized group or is it independent?
No, it's Toyota North America, the actual, organization.
Belongs to the
I'd
company.
say that's going to be
Not an
kosher.
outside- It's not an outside group, correct? It belongs to the company.
Yes, it is integrated in the company.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, if I'm hearing you correctly, there are a lot of those positions where you apply for and they say, hey, would you like to join our talent community? One example that I have is American Airlines. They have AA job notifications. You add your name to the list and we have openings and they keep sending you email. Personally,
Yes.
what you're talking about, I personally have had not any results that's worth talking about. Because, yeah, we'll send you and they keep notification, you apply, nothing happens. With regards to the resume, because your resume more tailored towards each job, you can put one, but when you are actually doing the application or you like something, then you have to take it. And that's mine.
The Master Jeff.
Instead of, I would say never post a resume unless you have a job description that you can post a resume to. But what you can do is a one-page bio that's a high-level document that tells you what your accomplishments are and what you're good at, because that's generic enough. So unless you have a specific job description, don't post a resume.
That makes sense.
The one exception I would have to that is it's usually the major corporations that have these programs. I've joined a few of their communities, the ones that are part of my target list, and I found that to be helpful. And I've even posted a generic resume just to get in there. A couple reasons, if you fit a certain affinity bucket, like military veteran, they have certain programs where they seek those folks out, so that's one avenue. Second one is just from applying, if you apply to multiple roles in the company, if you're in their talent network, it streamlines that application process.
Right.
So you can just refer to a previous application or what you already have. So I would say case by case, and you gotta be prudent about it, but I haven't found any downside to joining those talent communities. And you also then are accessible to proactive push notifications from those companies, where you'll get quicker notification of when new roles open that you don't get from Indeed, LinkedIn, all these other sources. So I personally found it to be helpful.
No, I would just add one comment. Nobody's going to help us find a job. We're not going to put it out there and then they're going to look for a job for us. All right. That just doesn't really happen. So what we do is when we talk to people, when we ask questions about people and who do I talk to, whatever, make it easy for people to help us. That's the key. So if you're looking for some sort, do something. So if you come in and say, okay, I'm looking for anything in the North Dallas area, we use that example a lot with Jeff. Well, nobody's going to go out and look for jobs or, companies for us in the North Dallas area. But if you've got a specific company name, then we know something, we can do something about it. And if you put the specific company name that matches the name that I'm going to do a search on and LinkedIn for that company to look for connections and contacts through that, that makes it easy for me. I mean, can use Toyota as an example. Do you know how many Toyota companies are here? There's Toyota Financial, Toyota this, Toyota that. Which one are you looking for? You just can't tell me Toyota to look for that position. So that's just a comment I would say to whatever you're joining, whatever you do, make it easy for that group or someone to help you. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
I think we ought to wrap that up. Call it a wrap today. Okay. So let's finish up with a couple things and we'll be done for the day. We talked about creative.org and I just want to pick out a couple of things here, how fantastic that site is that Jeff has put together for us. I don't know how many hours Jeff has put into that particular website, the CareerUSA.org website, and the updates and the things that he does over time that some of that's not being done because one, we don't know how to do it. And secondly, Jeff will be getting back into play soon enough. But anyway, we want to pick out just the calendar feature just for right now of all the things that you can find on there. So if you click on the calendar feature, what will you see? What will you find? And there's a couple of ways that it shows up on the calendar. There's this graphical way you can look at the calendar, look at all the different groups that are meeting. And Jeff has color coded them. You can look on the left side and he's got them. And here's the different groups that you can select. So I just want to see those events other than that in the graphical. And then there's the agenda view. I really like the agenda view. And if you click on either the graphical view item or on this, it'll come up and it'll tell you all the information about that particular group, when it meets, maybe who the contact is, who to send an email to, whatever it might be. A lot of things I like on these groups is I look for the leaders of the group because those are the biggest job helpers out there because they lead these types of groups and they can help us make connections and things like that. So it's a really good resource and there's so much other that's out there as well. There's also a YouTube channel on the Career USA YouTube channel, which will show up videos that Jeff has recorded over the years. And so I'm not sure, it's over 400 probably out there now, Jeff, is that right? Something like that. But if you click on playlist, it comes up and shows you name. Jeff has categorized those. And so back when we were doing the networking series and the resume series, you can see those categories. And what you want to do is you want to click on playlist. You see down at the bottom, like here's the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. You hit that. If you hit the icon, it's going to start playing the video. So just click on that. And when that will bring you to this screen where you can now scroll through and say, here's videos of past events. And so Libby has given us permission to post this. That will be the next one that'll show up as we post that onto this. So you'll see this meeting that you can look at. There's some great information out there that's available to you. So you can look in the categories for the interviewing, and this is just a whole series of people that have spoken to the group that we can record for you and you can use. For example, The Joy of Stress with Laura LaRoche that came out on 12/20. It's got 134 views. I haven't updated that in the last week or so. It's a very popular one. It's one we do every year, right, Jeff? That we bring Loretta in and put a little joy and some happiness and a little bit of fun in our lives. So let's talk about Tuesday, since Jeff has always been one. Locke Anderson is going to be speaking on the LinkedIn Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central. That is going to be on Zoom. Patty Bashy will be leading that group. We want Patty to get a job so she can stop doing this, but same thing for Matt. Matt, we need to retire Matt to a job. But Locke Anderson is one of the people that she uses a round robin of 4 or 5 speakers to talk about LinkedIn, and they come from different perspectives on each. So go to the calendar, look at the 1 o'clock on Tuesday, and you can see the information in the link and everything, how to get to that. In fact, that's where it is, right there to find out that information. So Wednesday is the interview day. The practice interview team now is a meeting on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. They do this on all but the fourth Wednesday of the month in person here. But since there are still people that are outside the DFW area now that Zoom and all this has come along, so to allow people outside of the DFW area. And that's run by Ron Layton, and Ron is beginning to figure out how to have multiple candidates online. If you're familiar with breakout rooms and things like that. So we're beginning to experiment with that. I say I'm a panelist, Matt's a panelist, some people here are panelists. But there'll be multiple people that can be there. So we're always looking for panelists and people that can help with that. But that's going to come up on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. You can observe, you can be an observer and watch and learn. I like to make a rule that maximum of 3 observations, and then you're required to actually do it. Because you can observe all you want, but that it's not the same as doing it, okay? And of course, the PICU meets here, and I put down this fourth Wednesdays, some question marks, and that was to remind me to say about we are trying to put more than one person online in that. So I think there'll be 2 on the next fourth Wednesday, all right? If you're interested, send an email to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com, send your resume and your job description, say, hey, I'd like to get registered. This fills up quickly. We do about 3 people a week in person, and everybody that's done it says they're glad they did it. Okay, it's one of those things. When you go to church, you say, I don't know if I wanted to go today, but then you went, you say, I'm glad I went. This is that kind of experience for you. So what's coming up in the next couple of weeks? The next Friday, the word next always bothers me because whenever we're talking about time and we say next Friday, most people are talking about 2 Fridays from now. And it kind of bothers me because communications, I'm too picky on that. I said, okay, what does that mean? I said, is that the same as your next paycheck? Is that the same as your next child? Is that the same? No. But when you talk about time, so anyway, so I'll put dates up here. On 1/24, we're going to have Mike Coffey. He comes about once a year. He's agreed to come talk to us about background checks. Some great information for us there. Don't know what's happening. And then on the 31st, Elizabeth has got some new information. She wants to talk about the job search trends for 2025. It's a new presentation that she's put together for us. So what's happening in the job world? So that's coming up on the 31st. Be glad to have you come and participate in that. Just a reminder, Jason Daly, how many people are going to lunch at Jason's today? Let's count them off. You want to come, Libby? She's too busy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got about 6 people. We know how many to make a table for. So be glad to see those of you. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Walt. Thank you, Libby. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks for your participation, and thanks for those that turned on their camera.